All right. What up, what up?
What's up, everyone?
Welcome to another week of Collector Bros. And today we're very excited because we're going to be talking about video games for the first time on our show.
Yes.
I should say show, I guess. Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about a series that we have both played since the late 90s for me, earlier 90s for my brother, but it's one of his most beloved series, and that is Final Fantasy.
Yeah. So, I don't know which one to start on. I brought a bunch from my collection, my personal collection. I think I'm going to go with...
why don't you show us your favorite Final Fantasy first?
Already? Yeah, already, okay. I'll start with my favorite. Alright. Favorite Final Fantasy of all time. I have a lot of fond memories of playing this game and my brother watching me play the game.
I've watched hundreds of hours.
I think I've beaten the game. I mean, I can't even count how many times. Easily, I'd say 500, 600, 700, 800 hours spent playing this across almost every platform that it's been released on.
Yeah, you've played it on like PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5, the Vita, name it.
Final Fantasy X. My #1 video game of all time. So yeah, like Peter said, it's been released on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 remastered, PlayStation 4, Vita, Switch.
It's even on Steam now because I know I've played it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you name it, it's been on there. Yeah. I think I've played on every one except the Steam version. Yeah. I don't have a Steam Deck. Maybe I'll get around to one.
Maybe it's not. I mean, I know Steam Deck has 1 through 6, which I have. And I think I have 8. I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Yeah, but this was
double check.
Actually the first Final Fantasy that I've ever played.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's probably why it's my favorite. I'm a little biased on that. But I think to many people, it's definitely a favorite, right next to 7, of course, the most.
So what makes this copy, I guess, special? Is there anything different on this copy than a typical copy, you'd say?
Yeah, so this is a sealed copy of the original Final Fantasy X from 2001. And this was, I'd say, one of the last Squaresoft games published by Squaresoft, and this is the Black Label copy. There's other releases, which I can touch on now. Actually, there's another Black Label variant of this game, which is a Square Enix, where Square Enix is the publisher.
Yeah, let's see if we can
you'll notice down there that says Squaresoft. That's the first print, and then there is also like a very small print run of a Black Label like this, but it says Square Enix. So that is in the transition period of when Squaresoft and Enix kind of joined. So that's where you'll find the Black Label copy.
And that one's more valuable or more rare?
It is more valuable. I mean,
I guess value is placed on certain collectors, like certain items.
Exactly. Like for me, it's the Squaresoft version is always going to be my #1. But I'm definitely hunting for a Square Enix version eventually.
And that goes for you guys. If you find the Square Enix version,
even in a CIB, it's worth some money. And it's just cool to have a different variant of the game. Yeah. And then obviously you have the common greatest hits, which is Square Enix. But yeah, I mean, this is graded by VGA 85+, which is a near mint copy. I've had so many of these throughout my collecting. Short story about that: I've started collecting sealed video games in 2009. Shout out to Rare Bucky. He's the first person that I bought a game from, and the first sealed game I bought was a Mortal Kombat for the SNES.
Yeah,
for a whopping $99. Yeah, so that kind of started the ball rolling for me with sealed video games
a long time ago.
And this is probably the 8th or 10th copy I've owned throughout the last almost 15 years of collecting, and
honestly,
definitely a keeper.
Some might say this is where the turn of Square began, because people kind of liked all Squaresoft's previous games and iterations, and then
a lot of people say this is like the last great Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think there's been some good ones.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I can bring those in right now, which I think a good runner-up to this. I know a lot of people might not think so, but just right here, so we can just have it in camera. Final Fantasy 12. I love this game. I mean, this
really took a turn from the series. So you had 11, which was obviously the MMORPG that came after this, but then 12 was your really first transition from turn-based to non-turn-based.
Yes, the whole battle system kind of changed. But you know what? It still feels, maybe the characters and stuff aren't as memorable as they were in Final Fantasy X, but
they were still in 12. Don't get me wrong. I think you still broke. I think you went into like a bubble, right? It was like a It wasn't like truly open world. It was trying to.
It wasn't like a hack and slash kind of thing, like how 16.
Like the transition began at 12.
It did, but I love 12. I mean, 12 is
another one I watched them play plenty. Great game though. I thought it was awesome.
Definitely,
I played it myself as well.
One of the more Final Fantasies, and I've got 2 sealed copies. I don't know. I think this is the first kind of collector's edition of the main series line of Final Fantasies that they had, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 10 didn't have. I mean, I don't know about 11.
Well, 11 they may or may not have.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with 11, but this is a steelbook version. It's like a limited collector's edition, and then you have the regular copy here. So these are both sealed. They're part of my collection. They're not the greatest condition, but one day I'll manage to get a couple nice graded copies and bring them here. But I mean, 12. We can go into detail on some like other nights and weeks. About these games, and
if you want to hear about one in particular, we can.
Their battle systems, their stories. Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can like throw some.
We can maybe do some gameplay
on the screen. Exactly.
You have a nice PS1 setup, so
I do.
We can dive into that some other week.
Oh, definitely. We have so many things to show, like collectibles and games and comics and cards and I don't know. I can't even.
We have a little bit of everything, which we'll definitely get into week after week.
A lot of everything. So we're super excited.
But we're getting new things weekly too. I mean, things are coming in, things are coming out.
Always fine. It's like the wives love it. Spending all that hard work money on video games and collectibles.
Why don't we get into the next one? Let's stick with more modern. Let's get to the
that's what I was going to do. I think we should run through the modern and then we can kind of go. So this is actually an interesting one because it's the first direct sequel to a Final Fantasy game.
Did this come out, before 12 or after 12?
No, this came out before 12.
Before 12.
Yeah. So this came out in 2003, and it's direct follow-up to Final Fantasy X. A lot of people... I mean, this is like it's not too much of a talked about game.
No, it's not, but honestly, what they did with the whole suit system was awesome.
I love the suit system. I love it.
I thought that
I think it's really cool. The story, I wasn't crazy fan about, but...
Some cool cutscenes.
I gotta say, I do love Spira and its world, and to me, I'll never say that this is a bad game, just because, like I said, Final Fantasy X is my all-time favorite, so any kind of minute living in this world, like, I will take it.
Check it out.
And this is another copy graded by VGA, 85+, which is new mint. And I mean,
Pain, Riku, Pain
not everybody's favorite Final Fantasy, obviously by any means, but definitely one that I have a lot of memories playing. I mean, you've watched me play and played, and a lot of these games I've completed to 100% completion. So again, probably countless hours, and like replaying them. I recently replayed Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. I almost by myself replaying Final Fantasy X on a yearly basis, actually.
So before we were rudely interrupted by our stand, which took what did it take us like 15 minutes to figure it out? Just kept falling off the table. So
you guys won't know though. It'll be a nice little cut.
So yeah, I think we left off on finishing off on Final Fantasy X-2 and talking about how terrible the game. No,
Yeah.
how it's not a favorite game. So we're gonna dive in to I think the next more modern Final Fantasy mainline game.
And I think this is where I actually started probably playing some myself.
Yeah. What are you, 12?
Yeah, apparently.
Final Fantasy 13. Lightning on the cover, in case you guys didn't know. So
Some might say this is probably the worst in the franchise, but I don't know.
Okay,
I thought it was good.
I'll show you guys. I know this like little ring kind of camera thing is, we'll fix it down the line. We just want to show you guys the games and VGA 90 plus graded, mint condition, near mint condition. So yeah, this is one of those games where it's either like you really like it or you hate it, and it's most of the time it's you hate it, just because of like I'd say the linearity of the game, and being on like the PS3, I feel like the PS3 had so much potential to like deliver this like stunning new Final Fantasy. And I mean, I liked it. A very forgettable game for me. I don't
actually remember any of the really plot line or. And you know what's the funny part about this? And I always thought it was funny is it's one of the games that people like the least. Yet it's the only like trilogy that's actually
which is weird, right? You think like, hey, we love like Final Fantasy 12 was good. Like it was a good solid game.
10 and 2.
No, we're not going to give it a follow up or anything. 10-2, that was a first kind of sequel for Final Fantasy, but you would think that you'd really invest and put all your eggs in a basket that's good. I don't know why. Maybe they did it because they wanted like to try to redeem themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? We're going to go back. We're really going to give people what they want.
I think they were just really shooting for Lightning being like, that character that everyone loved.
Which, she's cool.
She is.
I mean, Lightning's badass. I mean, she's a, cool mainline character. I think she had more personality than Vaughn, in Final Fantasy 12.
I think she's cooler than Vaughn.
Yeah, I mean, Vaughn was, like, people think Vaughn's not even like the main, guy in Final Fantasy 12. They think Balthier, which I mean, I don't know. I don't picture Vaughn as being like a main character either. But I played this game. I beat it to completion, 100%. Not my favorite by even like a close shot, but I don't hate it. I don't think it's like absolutely terrible. It really does nail some. There's some good parts to it.
How about did 13? Did it have any special editions? Right, it had some sort of.
Now you're catching me off guard. I should know, but I don't collect PS3. I really don't collect too many variants of PS3. I know 10.2.
Mm-hmm.
So 10.2 definitely. I mean 13.2. Sorry, 13.2 definitely had a collector's edition. This had like a collector's edition strategy guide and stuff like that. I think
this is also where the digital era began, right? Like more of like the digital heavy, digital deluxe, and all that type of stuff.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think like the European like PAL side got a collector's edition of this. Because I vaguely do remember I did own like the big box versions of this, and I know Best Buy, I think they had like a specific version for 13.2. and there was definitely a 13.2 collector's edition, which I owned. I don't know where it is. I do probably have the CIV copy at home. Sealed copy I don't have. I mean, they're a dime a dozen.
13, the third one's Lightning Returns.
The third, yeah.
Right.
I started playing it. I never beat 13. Lightning Returns.
I honestly played 13. I never played 13.2 or Lightning Returns. That's just where it dropped off.
I did beat 13 to completion. I started Lightning Returns, but that was kind of like, I feel like end of the PS3 era. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think that's like when
I think you're right.
It was kind of like falling out, and I don't know. I feel like that game was, I don't know, from what I remember, the first few hours.
So this was 2010 Square Enix. So 2006 is when the PS3 came out. So this was like a mid-life game.
Yeah. So Lightning Returns was probably end of.
It was end of era.
Yeah.
Probably beginning of PS4. That's when it started.
Best game on the PS3, hands down. I mean,
The
Last of Us.
Of course.
That's for another day. We'll definitely review that. But yeah, I mean, we just spent too much time.
Yeah.
Talking about Final Fantasy 13. We're done with 13. We can talk a little bit about. Well, no, wait. We kind of went out of like sequential order here because we went like 10,
That's
12, 10, 2, 13.
All right,
but 13, it's okay.
Let's jump down to some vintage.
No. We're gonna finish.
Okay.
We're gonna go to 14 for a minute.
Okay.
Just to like briefly talk about it. I don't have any sealed copies of that.
I had a 14. I sold it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help us.
No, it doesn't.
We're gonna talk about 14 MMORPG. Amazing game. It's still
Love it.
People play. It's as popular as ever.
Expansion after expansion just getting better and
It's
better.
What has it been? It's been almost 10 years, I think, since it's been out. I think it came out in 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
originally, probably. And then they went back to the drawing board and kind of revamped it because
totally.
the initial release was like
very bad,
not playable.
Yeah.
But I actually played 13 Around Reborn when that came out.
14.
Yeah. Jeez. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I played that for actually a few years.
14 was good. I didn't play it until about 2 years ago is when I first started. I got the Steam Deck and then I downloaded it on there. I played it for a good 6 months, but it was just another MMO, and I was still involved with plenty others like Destiny and
I was playing on the PS4, and let me tell you, compared to my buddy played it on PC, and PS4 compared to PC, the load times were abysmal. I don't know how I played it for so many
PS4
years.
you'd wait first of all, queue times were horrendous in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
but it's because it was so popular, and then load times between traveling on the PS4 would just
it was just was too much. 30, 40, 50 seconds just to get from one spot.
And nowadays it's just
I went back to it a little bit on the PS5.
It's a lot better.
It's a lot better, 100%.
I mean, even on the Steam Deck, I played it, and it was just the load times on the Steam Deck were just fine, and it was super playable.
But it's a time save. We both have kids, and we're just. I would never be able to play that game.
I would love to play it, but then I can't do really anything else.
That's true. Yeah. You would have to sink all your free time into playing.
Just to keep
it's not even enough because raiding. Once you're doing the raids and stuff, that just takes up hours.
And we used to raid. We used to raid on Destiny, and it just took up.
Yeah,
it's fun.
And then Final Fantasy 14 mechanics and the raid mechanic, the raid mechanic, it's just so. You gotta be so precise with that stuff, and you gotta finding a solid group.
And you gotta know multiple classes or play multiple classes because if you
can't be a one-trick pony.
Exactly, you can't just be a tank or just a DPS. You gotta kind of.
I was a DPS. I was a DPS. I skated by.
But your other job classes are important, especially if you want to try to get into raids easier. And
definitely. Of course. Yeah. But okay, so we'll leave that kind of on the back burner. We'll talk about 14. Maybe when I get a copy, we can go into more detail and stuff about that and its world. We'll talk about 15 too. I don't have that here. I don't know why. I don't know. I like 15. There was a lot of things that I liked about 15. The world was just so empty.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say 15 had super cool designs with all their creatures, but they're just like far too spread apart. It's like you'd be driving in this vast world, which is it's so cool. And I personally thought the car mechanic and driving around was cool. One thing I didn't like about it is when you actually got your, I guess, flying car, you have to actually beat the game to get it, and it's like, I wish I had this towards like mid game or something like that.
Yeah,
so
and the end game wasn't like too crazy because I think then they released some expansions.
They did. They were supposed to release some expansions, then they canceled it, but then they came back. It was like a whole, mishmash of things with 15.
And people made. I mean, I didn't really mind like the whole boy band
thing. Yeah.
I think. Listen, it's not really my style. I thought
Noctis was cool. I thought he was an interesting character.
Yeah, but I feel like the character design got pretty bland. Like they all look kind of the same.
They do,
right? They're like all wearing black, right?
It brought to the series, which a lot of people didn't like at first, but I loved. It brought the action combat to the series. It was where really the hack and slash began, which we don't have, and it's an older version. We'll touch about the remake, but Final Fantasy VII Remake brought the hack and slash in, and then 16 really, I think, perfected it or getting close to it.
And we saw like in 15, like obviously besides 14, much more open world.
Yes,
right? It's like kind of like the first kind of. I wouldn't say open world because it was like sectioned off, right? So you still have but the sections were huge. They were big.
You were able to. You started in a small section, and as you progress story, unlock more and more. And eventually, you had the whole world open to you. And there are dungeons, and
I don't know. I didn't play the. I did play the original release to completion, and then when the expansion started coming out, I don't know about you guys, but I can't stand I can't stand like expansions in like mainline games, right? So like if you're gonna release a game, just release it. Like just release a finished product, and that's it. I feel like nowadays like these companies get a little bit greedy because they know people are gonna pay that $10, $20 for the expansion.
So I agree with you. My problem is not so much that I've played some expansions with games when I played the game maybe a year later and it had the expansions and they're readily available for me to play.
Yeah, but who wants to wait like a year?
You don't. And that's why I typically, like you, I never play them because one, it's been so long since I played the game, so getting back into, mechanics, I'd have to go relearn.
Prime example, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the game. The detail's phenomenal. To the OG, but when they came out with Intergrade, was it like a year later or something like that?
It was at least 10 months.
Never played it, and I want to, and I started playing 7 again. I tried replaying it, but I'm just like, why am I spending 40, 50, 60 hours to replay something that I just played about a year ago just to get back into the combat?
Yeah, and
then replay Intergrade, which is I don't even know how many hours it was.
It was a decently long game. I forgot.
Intergrade, the second. Yeah. So I'd love to play it.
The expansion was long, and I heard it was good. But once again, I just can't hop back into a game like that. And I'm the type of person or type of player that I want to know everything that happened beforehand. And a year later, I don't.
You forget, and you forget the controls. Like you forget.
And once again, it comes down to time. It's like once again, we want to play some newer stuff. We want to play whatever we can get our hands on at the time.
I mean, I would love to have the time to replay all these
if
games.
I could, I would, 100%.
Yeah, but you don't want to sink
exactly. Yeah. Don't have the time for it.
Anyways, let's move on to the last kind of main. No, not the last main line. The most recent main line, Final Fantasy. Yeah. And it's kind of like a controversial one in a way for people, and that's Final Fantasy 16, the most recent entry to the franchise. Mixed.
Man, I personally had some, I guess, hardships when I started this because
I know it was an
on or off. I got maybe 8 to 10 hours in, and it was the type of game that I wasn't feeling yet because it was a lot of cutscenes in the early stages and throughout the game. So I wasn't ready for it. There was a lot of cutscenes in the early stages and throughout the game. So I wasn't ready for a super story heavy driven
Which it
game.
was.
But I continued to stay through it, and I got through it within about 6 months, and I beat it. And honestly, it's probably the best, if not my favorite Final Fantasy story.
The story is great.
It's so good. It's like watching essentially a show or a movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. You know, and the fighting is phenomenal. The powers are cool.
It is. I think it's overall. I think it's a great game, and I think a great step up from like 13 and 15. I think it's definitely improved on a lot of things. The battle system is a little bit lackluster. I wish there was a little more like customizability.
It got a little
And
repetitive.
to like improve, improve on more combos and stuff like that. I didn't like that the magic system was kind of. It was just like, oh, let's just put a magic button.
You know, you're right. The combos were kind of lame because there came a point where like within the first like 8 hours, I would do one combo that was like so just
effective.
effective.
And then like you don't want to.
I'd use it, and then when I got a new summon or something like that, or what were they called?
I don't know.
What were they called in this game? Epics? There weren't any lines.
I don't know because Final Fantasy changes the name of every summon essentially.
Man,
And we just beat it, and I just beat it. I mean, it was good.
Icon.
Okay, it's been 6 months.
No, I did like that there was certain powers given to people and they were the icons. So it's like they weren't just creatures, they were actual people.
The concept is there. I think everything's there. I think they just really need to kind of refine and work on the system. Overall, it's a good game. I did really enjoy it. It's not like my favorite by any means, to be honest.
But one thing about it, and personally I think is, it's another main line. It's another one that kind of goes off the beaten path and like not Final Fantasy. So having this one, there's a 90 in it, obviously all mod stuff. You try to shoot for a high grade.
It's hard, man. I mean, you guys are very strict about grading. I don't know.
There's different companies. There's a
You
lot
guys
of
collect too many sealed games. Yeah. Steel game market is kind of like a niche market still. I mean, it kind of blew up in like 2020. Like I said, I've been collecting since 2009, so I dabble on all this stuff for the past 15 years. But yeah, you if you guys are interested in like looking at the grading companies, this is CGA, which is also the parent company, and VGA is like a sub company. Yeah, so that's the video grading authority.
all these grades so far.
Yeah, and they've been around the longest for grading companies for video games since I don't even know when they started. Like 2010.
They're also
somewhere around there.
one of the most expensive to grade with, but they're also most reputable, I guess, due to their longevity.
It depends who you ask. I prefer them because these cases are phenomenal.
Man, let's talk about the slabs versus other companies.
Yeah, I don't want to buzz too much on other companies, but I mean these honestly they display the best. They're so clear and
other companies are catching up.
Yeah, these are compact. They're not like better. So like WADA and I don't know about CGC, but because I haven't had a CGC. I've had WADA before in terms of like safeness and like.
The thought initially super cool, but then
when you start having
have
hundreds of games,
you can't stack them nice. You can't put them like a bookshelf.
I mean, I can't even tell you. I would have no space in the house because the WADA cases were so thick when they first came out. So yeah, VGA. If you guys are interested again, WADA is another company, and then CGC just started grading recently too this past year. Give it a check. Check them out if you guys are interested in grading your games, and they also do CIB grading.
Yeah. I mean, you collect obviously you collect a lot of stuff you love. I do the same thing. I typically get stuff collectible or sealed from the games I love, and that's really what I collect. And it's
collect what you love, and you'll never like be disappointed down the line. Obviously, don't be
don't
be stupid and like just spend money on
tens of thousands of dollars.
Collect within your like limits and collect what you love. I mean, that's what it's all about.
At the end of the day, if you don't like it, you still love the game itself.
Exactly, and you're not going to be
disappointed.
Crying.
Exactly.
Let's get to. So I want to go like backwards. So
okay,
let's do that, and then we'll end up.
All right, we're gonna jump to the PS1 era.
We're gonna jump to the PS1 era of Final Fantasy, and we'll start with Final Fantasy 9.
I've never played it.
Yeah. Okay. So I played it, but like I don't know why. I actually started playing it recently. I got both Final Fantasy 8 and 9 on the PlayStation, and I started playing them both. I just don't have the time. I'm not even kidding. Like I don't have the time to like really sit and like digest and go through the story. I will eventually, just because I've played most of the Final Fantasies actually, aside from 3, 6, 8, and 9.
So at least with the modern, I mean,
everything else I've played.
With the modern stuff now, if you play it on the modern, you got ×4 usually. Like
the speed, ×3. But I don't like playing in like super high speed. Like if it's maybe like a ×2, I feel more comfortable because you kind of still, it feels still like the original kind of ish. Once you go like super fast, like you start, I don't know, it just like loses its kind of.
But yeah, this is where like some of these games, I mean, Yohan can probably tell you, I don't know if it started with 9, but you got some. I don't know if this one has misprints or Lifold.
No. So, Final Fantasy 9, not that I'm aware of, and I'd like to think myself of a PlayStation 1 expert, but there's like so many games, you can't know them all. So many variants of games too, like little misprints or, when you go into like the long box, the beginning of the PS1, you have, jewel case long box, you have ridge long box, you have a flat long cardboard boxes, and then it's I don't know. There's just so many variants of things that like it's kind of hard. Even today's day, there's a lot of variants that still come to light. So there's like stuff that people don't know about. But I mean, super cool artwork on the front. I mean, I'm gonna get around to it because I know a lot of people like the PS1 era Final Fantasy. It's turn-based combat.
I think it's one that slept on it. I think they're talking, I don't know, there's rumors out there. I've heard of potential remakes of it.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. I'd be more inclined to probably play a remake just because, like, you get so used to playing more modern stuff that once you really go back to, like, PS1.
Some games definitely hold their, like, can hold their own with the classics, but some are just like
some age terribly. But I don't know about this. I wish I could talk more about it. I'd love to. I will. One of these videos, I will talk more about it and how I played it. We'll let you guys know. But
let us know what.
I mean, if
you guys have played it, so
do you guys recommend jumping into the OG? Maybe waiting for a remake, I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on to the next. Which is Final Fantasy 8.
Which I've played only probably around 8 hours of, never beat it. It was one of my wife's actual favorite games when she was young. She said she was only able to get to the first disc and never had a memory card, so.
Oh, and that's another thing we didn't touch on. These actually have multiple discs.
Oh, the PS1.
So the PS1 era, because the games were so big. So Final Fantasy 9 came in at a whopping 4 discs, and so did Final Fantasy 8.
Well, don't knock it, because I think the Xbox for 15, or was it 16? One of them had 2 discs.
I think they're saying that Rebirth, Final Fantasy 7 is going to get 2 discs.
Yeah, so
we're going back to.
I think they said one. I'm pretty sure they said one is like almost. I forgot how they stated it. One is like essentially like the game, and and then the other one's like I forgot what it is. It's like the
Downloaded?
I don't know. It's essentially one of them is going to be like a dummy disc. It has stuff on it, obviously, to get you to play the game, but it's essentially you put it in, and it's not like the game doesn't stop and say, okay, insert disc.
Okay, gotcha.
2 type of thing. I'm pretty sure. So, but yes, I think there's going to be a 2 disc variant and Rebirth, something like that.
Yeah. 8. I have, like I said, I actually started playing this last month.
Squall, right?
Yes. I did not get too far just because time. I honestly have been so short on time. Definitely one that I do have on my PS5 right now that I'm playing, so I'll get through it. I'm gonna push myself to get through it.
I have it at my Steam Deck. That's where I played the decent amount of it. So,
you know, another example, a sealed game. I'm super stoked about this one. I mean, it's in pristine condition. I love it. Like when you see something like this, it's like this is a.
I mean, a 90 is a grail. You know,
and what is this? Like 25 years old,
yeah.
Right? Is my math?
Yeah.
1999, 25 years old.
4 years
still
old.
Brand new. I don't know. It's like a little time capsule. You know, I love holding stuff like this. I know it's not raw. I know a lot of people don't like grading because they can't handle their game and stuff like that. But what does it matter if you're handling it raw versus? I'd rather have it protected. I don't want it to get damaged. If I do drop it, sure, it can still crack in here, but less prone to cracking and, you know, preserving this beauty. I mean, it's awesome. I do have open copies, I believe, as well, of all these. I have multiple open copies. So yeah, we actually play our games too. We don't just buy them to look pretty. I mean, they look pretty.
Exactly.
But we also...
All the games that are here, typically, they're owned, also opened.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just, we don't just own them sealed and never play them.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do own sealed games that I don't
play. But
that I don't have opened.
Yeah.
Or have played even. But it's just like the collectability thing.
But I feel like
everybody has like sets they want to achieve or games they want to own. But yeah, this is like, Final Fantasy is definitely one of my favorite series of video games. Not one of, I think it is. Right next to like Zelda, which is Zelda's good.
Zelda's good.
It's great. I love Zelda. Zelda, that's for another day, but yeah, Final Fantasy is awesome. I've played so many Final Fantasies.
Put it your favorite series off the Sony side of things, PlayStation.
Is it Zelda?
No.
Or you just
Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. This is number one. Again, number one game of all time for me. I mean, 100%. It's not even debatable. Like, I'll never change my mind.
10.
Yeah, 10. Hands down.
All right, let's move to the ultimate grail of what people think is their
the best.
The best of the best. Yeah.
And we got a sealed copy of Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of people's favorite. I feel like this is. I know. I wouldn't say like Final Fantasy became most known when 7 released, but.
No, but 7
definitely,
was...
it was revolutionary.
Well, yeah, and the 7 took the turn from that typical 16-bit era from like the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies.
It's just step up. It's like the first kind of like
3D,
yeah.
You know,
and
more open world. Oh, I guess the other ones were also open world, but this gave it kind of another, you know, everything being 3D, I think is really what stepped it up. And, you know, obviously you have the whole cool, you know, party systems as usual, summons, dance, but I think the world was iconic. People like the characters, Sephiroth, obviously.
I do love this game. I do. I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm gonna sound like every other fanboy about it, but you know, having played the original PS1 and having then kind of experienced the remake, it's such a great. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the battle system. You know, the whole materia system, and the world is awesome to me too. Like I love Midgar. I love
Midgar was.
I love all things. You know, the golden saucer. So like I love kind of all
Chocobos on it
out here about Final Fantasy VII. Awesome games. I mean,
and then obviously we had Remake come out a couple years ago, which was obviously great. I personally, the one thing about Remake versus the original, which I've heard a lot about, is the ending changed on Remake, and I personally think the ending of the Remake dragged maybe about 6 hours with climbing. Yeah, the ending was good, but the last like 5 or 6 hours, I think, could have.
I think they just really wanted you to experience, get like the full detailed experience of what they maybe wanted you to experience in
what I love though,
97, but limitations.
What I love though is they pulled Crisis Core into the ending of Remake,
which is cool.
Which is awesome. And seeing Zack and that ending scene of Remake was essentially almost not identical, pretty damn close to identical to the ending scene of Crisis Core, but Crisis Core had like a little bit of a twist that I thought
that was awesome. Crisis Core, by the way. I mean, I don't have it here. I do have a CID copy. We have a CID copy somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. It was a great game, great story.
Yeah,
tied right into 7.
It was fun, and on a PSP, like
there was a whole like gamble. I don't know if it was a slot machine system essentially, and it was like slots, and you have to roll like 999, and you would like unlock like special combos and all that. It's very cool.
I forgot. You probably know more because you played it more, I think. Than,
yeah, so,
I mean, I beat it, but
Genesis and Zack in it, and it was really good. The whole storyline to the end was cool, and seeing Cloud develop and how he ended up getting the Buster Sword, and you know,
and that's what I love about 7 too. Like, you know, they got these spin-offs, and then you got the Advent Children also,
and then you got the Dirge Cerberus.
You got the Dirge Cerberus with Vincent spin-off.
Yeah. They really took 7. You know,
I mean, it's a it definitely is. I have to say, top 3 Final Fantasies.
I think it had one of the most memorable casts for the characters.
It's just a badass game, like just like the setting of the whole
And they
game.
gave optional characters in 7.
Yeah,
like you had a chance to possibly not get Vincent.
Yeah, yes, and you know what? That's what I liked. Also, I mean, they carried that through, I think, to 12 with their like system of summons, and same for like 10. You can go through the whole game without getting Anima or the Magus Sisters or Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Like those are like optional summons, and this is really cool. You got the optional characters too. So yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say more about like this masterpiece of a game. Speaking of masterpiece, this game had, I think, literally like 5, 6, or 7 variants or something like that. This is a second release variant, which is called the Masterpiece Misprint. So I'll just run through the prints. I think it's cool, and how many times they kind of screwed up the prints of Final Fantasy VII. The original print was the realistic violence on the back, right here. It would say realistic violence. And for some reason, I don't know how this even happened, when they went to go change realistic violence to the comic mischief and mild animated violence and mild language, and maybe some other small change, I'm not sure, they fudged up the word masterpiece on the back. So there's a floating eye literally in the middle of the word masterpiece, which it wasn't on the first print. So like, I don't know what happened there. You guys might not be able to see it. I mean, I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of it, but there's a little eye right there that's out of place, and it's in the middle of the word masterpiece. So yeah, so when I first started collecting just short stories, I man, we don't have a lot of time. We're already like an
How
hour
good?
into it. When I first started collecting sealed video games, this was the most like coveted version of Final Fantasy to own. Like the master, like a misprinted version. Like people were like paying a premium even back then. I think it was, you know, I sold my copy for like $2,200. Like it was like unheard of for somebody to like, you know, spend that much money on a game. Shout out to my boy Mo, who actually, I think he still owns the copy, and I sold it to him in 2014, 13, something like that. I don't even remember, but I know that this was super hard to come by and very coveted and desired print of the game. People like didn't even but they didn't really care for the first print too much. I'm stoked to own this. It's just super cool to own. There are, you know.
So what else is there? That's a Y fold. So.
Sorry, yeah, this is a Y fold. So this comes in like the Scene Seal versions too. So like the first print, I think I know of like one or two maybe Y fold first prints. Everything else is like the Scene Seal. Like it's like that shrink wrap.
So was it typical for older PlayStation 1 games to be?
No, not necessarily. No.
They were just random.
Just yeah, and especially very common with Final Fantasy VII. You'd see that like Scene Seal shrink wrap variant. If you do happen to find like a first print realistic violence Y-fold, like that's cool. That's like a heavy hitter. But yeah, the second print definitely. Once you get to the second and third print, like they were more Y-fold. I love Y-fold. I prefer Y-fold over the shrink any day. I think most collectors who collect sealed video games do too.
So what else is there? There's the there's the first edition
realistic
violence with the shrink wrap and then Y-fold.
Y-fold. Then you have the
Masterpiece
misprint on the back here. This I think came in shrink wrap as well and Y-fold. Then the third print, they corrected the Masterpiece. That's like the last black, technically last black label print of the game. But then they had a fourth print where it was transitioning from greatest hits, so black label to greatest hits. I don't know how, but they kind of fudged that up too. So like on the side, one of the banners will say greatest hits, but like the front's a black label. So
that's cool.
It's cool. I don't really care for it. I mean, you know, because inside then, is it the great? I think it's the greatest hits.
Booklet and stuff or a game?
No, it's not the booklet.
Oh, the disc you're talking about.
Yeah. So are the disc greatest hits? I don't know. I haven't gotten that.
I guess on these PS1 games, you can't tell because this is not the booklet, right? The booklet is behind the cover.
Yeah. So the booklet is on the small jewel case games, the thin ones. These are the double, you know, CD. They can hold up to 4 actually. The double jewel case, but the single jewel case, the booklet is the actual front.
Yeah.
And then you have the booklet is inside these. But yeah, then you have that print, and then there's like I think there's like 2 greatest hits variants or something. I think there's like 6 misprints. I could be mistaken, but I think there's 6.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, greatest hits obviously is typical, but green was.
I can't stand
I don't like it. I don't
like
it.
Is it like no? Like, do you have to make
it was
greatest
just
hits ugly?
It was just obnoxious. Like,
and same with the PS2. Like they put this like why do you put this like red banner? Like, you know, okay. So do you know how like Nintendo?
They have their player's choice.
The player's choice, like it was cool. It's not like obnoxious and annoying.
Well, that's the thing. It's
looking.
like, you know, it's a later variant or the game of the year edition or
like
whatever.
the Zelda ones, like
yeah,
they had like a cool, like I don't know, they just looked cool, and like I would buy like a player's choice.
Yeah, but you just put this. It's just a ugly.
Like the green. Like who? I'd love to know who was like, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's put a
bright
ugly
green,
bright green banner right here that doesn't match the artworks at all. Like that green doesn't match.
But it's not even that. And then PS2, it's like you're gonna go with this dark red
it's just like
color, and then I forgot PS3. I don't know if PS3 was red too.
Yes.
It's just like
Yeah.
they all just decided, you know, all right, we're gonna start going from green to just red being the greatest hits. And
I don't know why they did that. I don't know whoever made that executive decision. Screw you, man.
terrible decision.
Screw you. I hate seeing Greatest Hits games for sale. I can't stand them. I own a couple Greatest Hits games, and I just like I want to burn them. Actually,
Yeah.
I just want to I want to do a video where we're like smashing them or shredding them or something.
So we'll do a final run through. We'll show you the games up close. We'll put a thumbnail and a timestamp if you guys want to just check out the games up close.
And if you guys want to go into more detail on like talking about these or the
Yeah. Let us know, or we'll put some gameplay on next time on the TV. One of us can sit here while we chat and talk and play. No,
do you have that capacity?
we'll make it work.
But if you want to know more about like
It might not be on like the OG system, but I can make it work off a Steam Deck or my computer or something. So
yeah,
we'll emulate it.
but if you guys want to, I mean, whatever you want to see, like we're totally down to like showcase these off in a better way. We're just kind of like, oh look,
Yeah. But we can go. Let's just show. Once again, we'll put a thumbnail right at the end, and let's show everyone front and back one more time, just so they can check them out and
yeah.
take it from there. You want to start with 7 and work our way
we'll
up?
start with 7. Yeah, misprint. I'm just happy to own it. Eventually, I want to upgrade because I have a handful of 85 graded games in my collection, but that's kind of like I don't want to be there when I'm collecting, to be honest. I prefer to be in the gold range because that's when you go from 85 to 85 plus. You rarely see big tears in the shrink wrap on these.
Yeah, usually at that point when you get to gold range,
Gold ratings, you have minimal flaws and stuff. So again, if you guys want to know more about grading, I've graded tons of VGA games, and I mean, I'd like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable about their scale and stuff. Most of my stuff that I've sent in typically gets gold. They've been grading a little bit harsher lately, but I think but yeah, for my personal collection, I really try to strive to have everything in kind of pristine condition. Otherwise, everything's kind of on the chopping block. 85 and under, if I can trade up or trade for something better, that's in a better condition, I will.
and another podcast, another show.
What podcast you doing, dog?
Another show we can talk about some of the older ones. I mean, I have Final Fantasy 3 CIV upstairs.
Yeah. SNES.
Yeah, the SNES era. I know we
gotta
talk
go
about
Final
it.
Fantasy 2.
Yeah, there's
And we should get the
2,
OG for the NES.
and then the NES, and then obviously there's 4, 5, and 6 from Japan. So
Yeah.
it's a different day to dive into, but
Yeah, this is more of the, I guess, the modern era of,
Yeah.
of Final Fantasy.
from PlayStation era of Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
when the transition happened from Nintendo to PlayStation. So
Well, I had a lot of fun talking about these games. I feel like we can talk. I can talk a lot more.
oh yeah,
I'm just I don't know, but we don't want to have a 3-hour video.
yeah. I mean,
At least
listen,
not yet.
Not yet, and then eventually we're gonna get to we can live stream and talk and play and chat with
Yeah.
you guys and see what you guys want to
In
do.
real time.
Real time.
Answer some questions.
Exactly.
Or,
You'll pose the question, anything about the games, we'll answer.
yeah.
To
Or whatever
our
we
best
know,
of our
if we know.
knowledge. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But it's just fun to BS and chat, talk.
exactly.
But yeah.
But thanks for joining us. See you next week.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.